Good afternoon, family, and welcome to episode 17 of Critical Sense Making Sessions, facilitated by yours truly, Revolutionary Rika. Today's topic is yoga. Today's guest is Ty Day. She is a Los Angeles native who is passionate about learning new things, practicing yoga, and Black people thriving. Ty, tell us a little bit more about who you are and choose one word to describe how you're showing up.
Hi, everyone. Like she said, I'm Ty Day. I am an educator. I've been working in schools for about 15 years now. And I taught math and love working with young people, middle schoolers in particular. One thing that brought me to yoga was needing a balance and self care. So I'm excited to share more about how yoga has really inspired me and motivated me to stay active and be healthy. One word to describe how I'm showing up today is present.
I love it. So definitely every conversation we need to be present and engaged to see what we get out of it. So I'm present as well. Thank you again for agreeing to come be on the show. And so I have a icebreaker question. And so just curious about what you are reading or watching just for enjoyment these days.
Okay, honestly, I'm watching Power. I
Okay.
fell off season 4 and then over the last like 3 days realized it was on Hulu. So one thing I'm watching right now is Power season 5.
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. I need to get on my um the kick of just in downtime, but it's always something dealing with education or school or these projects. So I'm going to be paying attention to what people are listening and reading so that I could actually have some outlets as well. So thank you. Well, tell me a little bit about life growing up in Los Angeles.
Well, LA is a great place, that's home. So I'll say growing up in LA, I had a lot of opportunities thanks to my parents. I grew up in South LA off 39th and Western, if anybody's familiar. And most of my schooling was out of my neighborhood. So I was bused out to Brentwood and Palisades for middle school and high school, which allowed me to have a very interesting educational experience, to say the least. I saw my side of town and then I saw more affluent neighborhoods every day, which was the root of me wanting to be an educator and provide those kinds of schools in my own community. But in my household, my family was very active in the community. My parents were always giving back, doing some community service or connecting with community organizations. So I was able to see what it means to whom much is given, much is required. So while they, work their way up in their respective careers, they always were giving back to others. And that is something that they left with me. That's on the family tip. I guess I'd add that in LA, growing up, I also was in theater arts outside of school. So that was an outlet for me. And I've always thought of extracurriculars and athletics as being really important to me. And I think everyone should at least try it. If it's not your jam, like maybe it's not a long-term hobby, but I think everyone should engage in some extracurricular or hobby to just see what comes of it, explore it a little bit.
Okay, I like that. Thinking back on your childhood, what kind of exercises did you engage in?
So I started off dancing as a young child. My parents put me in ballet and tap, kind of the typical, you're going to go to dance. Those are the two things you're going to learn first. And I did that for a while and then started to do some jazz and hip hop for fun when I could. And then in theater, it was always, I was in dance ensemble. So those were the ways that I stayed active. In high school, I was a cheerleader, and that I really do consider a sport. Some people may not, but we compete and we throw each other up in the air with no helmets. So we're kind of badass. Excuse my language. But those were my activities. And then in college, I also was in the dance. It wasn't the dance team, it was like the modern dance company for a year just for fun. So
Oh,
dance was the thing that I went to.
okay. And so, what did you learn about physical activities at school?
You mean like in my classes?
In classes, like what was promoted, what was advocated for?
I'll say it wasn't until middle school, and this is when I was first bussed out to different neighborhoods to go to school, that I had PE every day. I think in elementary it varied. We played outside, of course, but it wasn't like hardcore PE. But I remember I was not the fittest 10 or 11-year-olds. So when they were like, run a mile, I was like, oh my gosh, I dreaded it all day. And it wasn't until I got into the habit of working out every day that I was like, okay, I can run the mile. And I think at one point we called it the Ironman or something. That was a 1.5-mile run. And that's a tall order for a kid that didn't work out a lot. So that was probably my first introduction to physical fitness on a daily. And I remember one of our PE teachers would run around the school in the morning. So when my bus was arriving at campus, this older man, like in his 60s, was running around campus, rain or shine, in shorts and a tank top, because that was his habit. And he was one of the healthier people that I knew because of it. I am in no way a consistent runner, but when I do, I'm like, I feel good. I need these endorphins and it's healthy, you know? So those were my introductions to physical fitness.
Awesome. And so how was physical activity promoted at home?
It wasn't a priority all the time. Like I remember my dad would sometimes take walks, but honestly, where we lived, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't something that happened in our neighborhood a lot. Currently it is, and my parents, take walks. My mom, I think if she needs to stretch, she will, but it's not as promoted, I guess, in the home. It wasn't promoted as much in the home. I think what was for sure was healthy eating. Make sure you had a balanced meal as much as you can. And I know my parents learned a lot over time about nutrition. My dad became a vegetarian early on. So I want to say I was like 8 years old or so. He had gone to hear Farrakhan speak. He came home and he was a vegetarian. And then over time, my mom would make meals that were, well, no, here's how it started. We as a family stopped eating red meat. Like I can't remember the last time I had red meat. And then from there, he became a vegetarian, but no one in my house would eat anything other than chicken, turkey, seafood. And then he kept that up for a very long time. So nutrition was a bigger part of our physical wellness and well-being. And again, my parents learned a lot. They were both from Mississippi, so I think they had some soul food habits that they still love, and we celebrate on holidays, but it's not the everyday. My dad would also do a lot of juicing to do cleanses, and I was able to see that growing up. So when I became a vegetarian in 2009, it was not as hard of a transition because I was used to having meat alternatives in the house. So that's aside from physical wellness, but it is, I think, a part of the journey that I've been on.
It's all connected too, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to move us into our second set of questions. And so how did you incorporate physical activity into your career?
Well, because I was active growing up, when I first started my career straight out of college, I wanted to stay active. I could tell my body needed some activity, whether it be a walk or jog around the neighborhood or a dance class. So I kept up going to dance class when I first started teaching. That fell off, but I would, want to stay active a couple times a week. It wasn't until I think when I moved back to LA that a friend and I had gone to a yoga class. And that was when I was really introduced to yoga as a lifestyle. I started with Bikram yoga, which is hot yoga, 90 minutes, 26 poses. My first class was a hot mess. I had a necklace on, my clavicle was burning. My friend and I left early. Like it was bad. But after that class, we were like, yoga beat us, but yoga won't beat us again. So we went back, we stayed the whole time. It was fine. And I kept it up. In my career, I have done yoga for a while, and then I decided to be a yoga teacher on the side because I enjoyed it so much and because I wanted to share the practice with others. Like yoga saved my life in a way. It helped me with my own self-care practices, but also my mental health practices. And like I said, it is a lifestyle, excuse me. So it was when I moved to Oakland that I was going to a yoga studio, and what was happening in my career was kind of a lot. I had returned from a math conference in Denver, but while I was at the math conference, our school got shot up. and the bullet holes were about 3-4 feet away from my classroom window. Mind you, I wasn't at work that day, but my students were. And they described what happened that period when they had a sub, but I was at a math conference. So I went back to work and I was on edge a bit, because I thought, what if I were at work that day? I'm so glad my kids were safe. But that stuck with me. And to see those bullet holes, patched over though, and the front door of the school, it was a lot. No one was hurt in that incident, it was, yeah. Let's just say that led me to more yoga classes and more yoga classes, because it was a time on my mat where I can kind of release some of that anxiety. And at the end of one class, it was a Black woman who is still my homie, that's what we call her, yoga homie, to this day. She invited us to yoga teacher training. And she's like, if you really enjoy what just happened for the last hour and you want to share it with others, sign up when you leave. And I did. And I earned my 200-hour certification. So I'd say that unfortunately, some of the trauma of teaching where I was teaching led me to more yoga, but it was a blessing in disguise.
So it sounds like when you are stressed with work, yoga is a go-to for you.
Absolutely.
So how does engagement in yoga and other physical activities support your well-being?
I honestly do it for sanity, not vanity. So I love the idea of working out, getting fit, seeing I'm more toned, fitting my clothes better, not having to buy other clothes because you have to, but because I choose to. That's all well and good, but I am honestly working out when I work out regularly, I just see I have better headspace. I think clearly, I have a better mood. I take care of myself overall better. Yeah, me working out helps me eat better because I'm like, I don't want to waste that workout. And I want to fuel my body with something that's good for me.
Yes, I like that. So tell us what is yoga?
Well, yoga is a lifestyle, but also yoga is a connection to the body. And I practice vinyasa yoga, which is essentially connecting your breath to a movement. So in the class, you'll hear inhale, arms up, exhale, fold forward. It's keeping you present. So yoga is an opportunity for you to be in connection with your mind, your body, and your spirit on a mat, sometimes in a room with others, sometimes by yourself. Making space in your body in the ways that you want to manifest off of the mat. Like there are a lot of ways that yoga can play into your life off of the mat. You challenge yourself to find new spaces, like when you stretch your body. It happens when you're in uncomfortable situations at work. You find new space to explore about yourself.
How many different types of yoga are there, and what is your favorite and why?
Oh, there's so many types of yoga that I probably will miss one, so I won't try and name all of them, but I do practice vinyasa flow, connecting breath to movement. Another is Ashtanga. There's Bikram, that was kind of designed by this one guy, but there are lots of types of yoga.
My god brother, he swears by Bikram yoga. That after he went through a really challenging period in his life, whatever his mentor actually told him, oh, you should go to this yoga class, you're gonna love it, and he still continues with it today. I want to say he was working on his certifications, but
oh wow, that teacher training is intense.
Yeah, he really wants me to participate in it. I just haven't had the time, so that is something on my to-do list. So I'm glad that you did share out about it. Yeah. What's the major benefits of yoga? Okay. And so, what are some of the major benefits of yoga?
I would say major benefits of yoga are practicing meditation with the body connection. Mindfulness is, I think, the big theme of it all, is being present, clearing your mind space, which I believe is just as important as cleaning out your system, right? We know that when we eat, we process. I think it's helpful for me to think about also cleaning my brain space out in that same way, using meditation and mindfulness practices. And yoga, in addition to the mindfulness, is a way to be physically active. So there's a fitness benefit to it. some folks like Pilates and can make some comparisons, but yoga for me is my jam.
Cool. So share anything you are doing to help others engage with yoga.
So as I mentioned, I went to get my certification back in, I think, 2014. I didn't start teaching until 2015, but I taught at a gym, and I also taught at a Black-owned yoga studio here in Oakland. And that was loads of fun to share the practice with others. I would try and partner with organizations and offer a yoga class. That happened maybe once or twice. Currently, though, I hold a weekly Zoom with family and friends doing yoga. So I just roll my mat out here in my living room, and I'm connected with friends and family across the country once a week, because I believe sharing the practice is really what part of it is why I like doing it. It's a huge part of why I do it.
Yeah, and I think I've attended one session before. And you
Come
really
on back, Rika.
put me out, so I kept my video off.
And that's fine too.
Absolutely.
As long as you take the time to yourself to take care of yourself, that's what matters.
Have you taken any action to promote health and wellness?
I'd say the weekly Zoom, we close out our time together, checking in about our health goals of the week. And honestly, during quarantine, they've been kind of bare minimum. Like some folks are like, I'm going to drink blank ounces of water per day, because reminding ourselves about self-care can be kind of challenging during these times. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to turn off the screen. These are the type of goals that folks say at the end of the session, and then we check in about them the next week. So there's a bit of an accountability system embedded in the weekly yoga Zoom.
So, how do you advocate for health and wellness in the Black community?
It's really with my family and friends. It's on a small scale, but I'm the yoga friend. So whenever someone wants to talk about yoga or practice yoga, I am there for it. I also offer classes to folks who want to do it.
Have you created any resources to educate the Black community on the benefits of yoga?
I haven't, but in particular, I should. I know I should. Um, no, I haven't created any specific resources that are tangible that like you can pass on without me being present. But I think that's a great idea.
It's like it's coming down the pipeline soon, huh?
Yeah, that could be it. I have a vision of something, but I have not created it yet. So I can share more when it's ready.
Absolutely. And so I want to take the time now to just pop up some of the pearls that I heard you say that's really stuck out to me from the conversation. Just to let you know how this works. When the episode airs, people will have a chance to look at the episode and listen in and actually make critical sense on their own. Like what connects with them from what you talked about, and actually to help them shape like where they're going. And so my pearls are just what I took away. And so I encourage people to really listen to the whole episode just so that they hear and make critical sense for themselves. So I heard you say, do it for sanity and not vanity. So many people I recognize that always looking, I got to lose this and I want to look this weight and this and that instead of actually doing it as a lifestyle change. I
Mm-hmm.
was talking to someone about that mind shift. It has to be you change your lifestyle, not just, okay, I want a quick fix to this thing and then I'm going to have the best body or whatever. So I appreciate you pulling that up. I also heard you say yoga is a lifestyle. Then you also
Mm-hmm.
say yoga is a connection to the body, an opportunity to be connected with mind, body, and spirit, which
Yeah.
I love to hear those things being developed at once because it's powerful to witness. And so
Mm-hmm.
that has just pressured me to actually have you email me the next time you're having yoga class so
As
that
soon as we get off, we're gonna get it. There's one tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
I will be there.
Great. I can't wait.
And so a
Take
couple,
song requests too, Rika, so you can always respond with the song request. I'll add it to the playlist.
okay, I'll do that. And then the last couple of things that I heard I wanted to bubble up are just practicing meditation and mindfulness, being present and clearing your mind space. So many of us have our minds are just constantly going and going, and we never take the time to kind of take time to shut it down and pause it and just clear the air. I do that a lot by going and sit by the water, but
Mhm.
I appreciate yoga and yoga classes that I've attended where I've been given that opportunity, and it just helps you to just really get focused on your breath, on your body, and actually let go of all the stress that your body has. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, um, the fitness as a benefit. I like that you said that because it is. And I was talking to someone that was just saying, even daily, a daily 10, 15-minute walk,
Mhm.
and she said exercise was cumulative. So
Yes.
doing something in the morning, doing something at maybe early evening, but making sure I spread that time out and actually get that in every day. And then set weekly health goals, which is very
Mhm.
simple. I heard you say somebody said just about drinking some, this amount of water every day. So it could be something that simple, or it could be that I'm going for a jog for 45 minutes, right?
Right.
Whatever fits, floats people's boat, whatever fits for them, I think is always great. But I think yoga is an exercise or an experience that people need to try. And so
Yes.
if you have any last words or tips that you would like to share with the viewers, the last voice that they hear will be yours.
Thank you. What I would share is that yoga is for everybody. So you can do chair yoga, you can do yoga on your mat, you can do standing yoga, whatever works for you. I'd say give it a try. There are many ways you can learn about yoga online, but if you're interested and you feel a tug in your spirit that like you've heard enough about yoga, now you just need to try it. My tip to you is go try it. It'll change your life.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.